hotness left an hour early today to go get the kids. So I'm going to take this hour to bang out the last 2 chapters of this book, 3 chapters, 8, 9, and 10. For those of you who are here earlier this morning, you guys are getting double readings today. This is giving me the opportunity to get it done and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So going to jump right into it. For those of you who are new to what we're doing, I don't know why you're starting at part 3, but you should be starting at part 1. I'm going to be reading this book, my book, No One Is Coming to Save You, and it will be unedited. So there you get all my bloopers and all my speech issues. Oh shit, it's public. I did not want it to be public. Let me fix that real quick. Good call, Abby. We don't want public live. We want private live. Unlisted. Bloom. Save. That's all right. For those of you who made it in with the shit that was posted already, that you're here for it, fuck it, you can hang out. This is not going to be very interesting for those of you, I guess, but here we are. Chapter 8, Past, Present, and Future. I got some quotes here. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Ronnie Coleman said that. And what happened in the past that was painful has a great deal to do with who we are, what we are today. But revisiting this painful past can contribute little or nothing to what we need to do now, by William Glasser. That was from Choice Theory. Let's start with these 2 quotes. They set the stage for what I'm about to dive into. The first is a reminder that change begins with choice. Life is a series of decisions, and those decisions define the path that we walk. The second, from William Glasser's Choice Theory, reminds us of an uncomfortable truth. The past happened. No matter how painful, no matter how often awful you were, or even how incredible it was, the past is behind you. It's over. Reflecting on the past has its place. It can give you valuable insight, help you pinpoint where you could have made better decisions, or even teach you lessons about how you should or should not treat others. The past can shine a light on your present and future, showing you patterns or mistakes that you don't want to repeat. But as helpful as that reflection can be, you can never go back. Dwelling on the past is a slippery slope. Obsessing over it isn't just unproductive. It can warp your memories over time. Our recollections are not fixed snapshots. They're malleable, influenced by emotions, time, and context. That cherished, seemingly perfect memory you revisit, was it really that perfect, or has your mind softened the edges over the years? You also can never go back to the way things were. Life has moved forward, and so have you. You're not the same person you were in those memories, and neither are the people who shared those memories with you. Time changes everything: our knowledge, our relationships, our capacity for love and forgiveness, and even our perception of things, the way that we see the world. That doesn't mean you can't appreciate the past. There's nothing wrong with smiling at an old photo, cherishing a fond memory, or reconnecting with someone who was once part of your life. After all, our lives are mosaics built from these collected moments, shaped by the choices that we've made and experiences we've had. But here's the catch. If you're living in the past, you're missing the present. I once read something that stuck with me. The life that flashes before your eyes on your deathbed is nothing more than the moments that you truly paid attention to. Think about that. If your focus is glued to what's behind you, what are you failing to notice now? What connections, opportunities, or simple joys are passing you by while you're stuck replaying old tapes in your head? The past is a teacher, not a destination. Learn from it, yes. Use it to guide your choices and grow into the person that you want to be, but don't let it steal the moments in front of you. Life is happening now and it deserves your attention. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let me say this. I believe that the past is one of the most powerful tools that we have to drive us forward. For me, reflecting on my past, especially the abuse I endured when I was younger, I use it as a way to ensure that I don't perpetuate those cycles. I'm breaking the toxic beliefs and patterns that were integrated into my family. I'm trying new ways, even if I don't know for sure whether they'll work. Maybe I'll get it right, maybe I won't. But I know what that abuse did to me, and I hold on to that knowledge as fuel to push me toward being a better parent. When I look back on my past, I also see the times I hurt others, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. I can vividly remember moments when I cared about the harm I caused and the moments when I didn't give a damn. Walking away like it was just another day. With age, those memories hit differently. They give me more insight into how I want to treat people now. They remind me of the power of kindness and the weight of harm, whether it's inflicted carelessly or deliberately. I think about what it was like to be broke, struggling just to make it, selling drugs while working a dead-end job, hustling every day and still barely scraping by. I remember being homeless, living in a park, sleeping in my car, Those memories are painful, yes, but they also give me clarity about where I want to go in life and what I never want to experience again. They help me stay focused on building a future that I can be proud of. My past is an accelerant. It fuels me when my passion wanes or when my work ethic starts to falter. I look back at my shortcomings and failures, and they remind me why I keep pushing forward. The times I fell short motivate me to be better. They remind me what's at stake if I don't keep moving. I never want to relive my struggles. I do not want to suffer as I have. However, I believe my suffering shaped who I am. The hard lessons learned were necessary for the man I have become. They've provided insights that I can pass on to others that may save their lives or even simply some heartache. That's a win. And it's not just the bad memories that drive me. Positive experiences are just as powerful. When I've done something in the past that worked, something that led to an outcome I was proud of, I use it as a blueprint to replicate what worked. But I don't stop there. I build on it, expand on it, and I try to turn a good result into something truly great. Growth isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about making them. It's about taking what you've done well and making it even better. The past is a tool, plain and simple. It's a well of information, lived experience that has emotions tied to it that can help you achieve incredible things if you let it. But here's the catch. It can also lead to self-sabotage. It can make you lose faith in yourself, drag you into cycles of shame, and remind you just how cruel life or humanity can be. The power of the past isn't in the memories themselves, but in how you choose to use them. If you let experiences dictate your present and future in a negative way, that's on you, no one else to blame. Something we've said a lot on the podcast is this: you're not responsible for others, only yourself. That's where your focus should be, looking inward, taking accountability for everything you can, be honest about your role in the situations you faced, look for the places where you can improve, and start doing the work. Accountability isn't just about taking the blame for everything. It's not about shouldering guilt that doesn't belong on you. It's about recognizing where you had a hand in something, owning up to it, and then committing to stop repeating harmful behaviors. It's about growth, not punishment. The past is there to guide you, not control you. Use it as a compass, not an anchor. Use it as a compass, not an anchor. Recognize its lessons, embrace its insights, and let it push you forward. That's how you turn reflection into progress. Lastly, I want to talk about triggers and trauma because we all have them. Not everyone uses those terms. Not everyone has the language or the meme psychology they've picked up from social media to articulate what they're feeling, but that doesn't mean their experiences aren't real. Triggers and trauma don't care if you have a name, put a name to them. They exist regardless, shaped by the lived experiences that we've all endured. Your trauma may be worse than mine, or maybe it's the other way around. But here's the thing: neither one negates or diminishes the other. Pain isn't a competition. Trying to one-up someone else's struggle is ugly. It's selfish, and honestly, I think it destroys relationships. When someone confides in you, when they're venting, opening up, or seeking help, that's not the time to measure your wounds against theirs. A lot of us, myself included, instinctively want to share a similar story when someone's vulnerable with us. We want to show that we understand, that we've been there, that we're on the same page, but the truth is you don't. Even if we lived through the exact same experiences, the way it affects each of us would be different. What I assign meaning to, what you grieve, how we cope, it's unique to each of us. Trauma is personal, shaped by who we are, not just what we've been through. I get the goal is to make someone feel less alone. We want to say you'll be okay because I was okay. But the hard truth is that that's not the move. It's not what people need. What they need is to feel seen, feel heard, to have their pain validated, not compared or dismissed or overshadowed. Instead of telling your story, try listening. Let them tell you how they feel, validate their experience, acknowledging their pain. Say, I hear you, or that sounds so hard, and then ask them how you can help. You have the opportunity to truly be there for someone, to show them in that moment that they are your priority. Don't waste it by making it about you. This is something I've struggled with myself. I've been guilty of jumping in with my own story, trying to show empathy by relating to my own pain. I think it comes from a good place, a genuine desire to help, but over time I've realized it's not helpful. It shifts the focus away from the person who's hurting and onto me. I'm working on it, and I encourage you to do the same. When someone trusts you enough to share their trauma, honor that trust. Give them space to express themselves without interruption or comparison. Be the person who helps them feel heard, not the person who turns their moment of vulnerability into a conversation about yourself. It's not easy. We are wired to relate, to connect, to share. But sometimes the best thing that we can do is listen and let them know they're not alone. Not because you've been through it too, but because you're there, fully present, ready to support them however they need. Sometimes simply sitting in silence with someone can be enough. You never know when that pain mixed with loneliness could take someone out. Be present. The present. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift of God, which is why we call it The Present by Bill Keane. This part might be the hardest part for me to write, the hardest part for you to truly grasp, and nearly impossible to implement in your everyday life. It's about the mindset we've all been conditioned to accept, the mindset of the next thing. Take the man who wakes up every morning, grabs his lunch, and heads off to work. He's not doing it to savor the present moment. He's doing it for a paycheck that will come later. That paycheck will pay bills that are due at a later date. His entire routine, his entire focus is on what's next. This mindset isn't new. This is instilled in us from the start. When we are babies, we crawl, not to enjoy the process of crawling or moving around, but to learn to walk. Then we learn to walk, not for the joy of expression, but to prepare ourselves for a world of communication. What? Oh, talk. We learn to talk. Then we learn to talk, not for the joy of expression, but to prepare ourselves for the world of communication. We start preschool or early learning to prepare us for kindergarten, which is the first step in the next 12 years of preparation for the next grade, for the next school, for graduation, for what's graduation for. It's not the end. It's just preparing you for college or trade school, which prepares you for a career. The pattern doesn't stop there. You date to eventually get married. You marry to build a family. You work to save and hustle to prepare for retirement. And then what? The cycle resets for the next generation. Each step is just a means to an end, a stepping stone to the next milestone. More so what's next of society or the evolution of humanity. We've built a culture that glorifies the next thing mindset. It feels productive. It feels necessary. And in many ways it is. We can't ignore the practicalities of life. Bills need to be paid. Futures need to be planned. But the problem is that when you are always chasing what's next, you rarely take the time to fully experience what is now. Think about it. How often do we pause and truly live in the moment, not planning for what's to come, not reflecting on what's past, but fully immersed in the present? For most of us, these moments are rare, fleeting, and the truth is it's a hard habit to break. We've been taught from day one that every action is preparation for something else. We've been trained to focus on progress on the destination rather than the journey. I want to touch on something real quick, and here's a perfect example of what I'm getting at with this. Every one of us goes to some landmark or concert or thing and pulls out our cell phone to take a picture of it so that we can enjoy it later. Very rarely do people keep their phone in the car, go do the thing, take it all in, and just live right now and think, damn, that was a dope experience. Later doesn't matter. I've got the memories. I have the experience. I did the fucking thing. As a content creator, having friends who are also content creators, this is the thing that fucking disturbs me the most. When we do retreats or we go to Costa Rica and we do these things, it's so rare that other content creators that we are hanging out with leave their phone behind. Peaches and I do it too. I am especially guilty of this. But I am also very aware of when I'm at a scene and I'm taking a moment in, that I take the moment and it's just for me. And I will look at my wife and I'll be like, this is just for us right now. And that's it. It doesn't get shared. It doesn't get posted. This visual landscape that we are currently enjoying in the moment is solely for us to experience right now. We also do something called sharing breath, where we put our foreheads together and we take a really, really deep breath in, hold it for a second and let it all out. And we share breath together in those moments because we are sharing the energy and the love and everything that is happening currently. It's very grounding for us. We are taught that we're supposed to share these moments. People take pictures of their fucking dinner and post it to Instagram. I don't know if that's still a thing, but like when people go out to fancy restaurants, they take pictures of their food. The people that are looking at your Instagram don't give a fuck about what you had for dinner. We do that to fill some sort of ego in us, or somehow trying to show our life off like we're experiencing some crazy extravagant thing. I do understand the need for memories. I am a huge photo person for that reason, so much so that I actually still print pictures. But it's important to live in the moment and actually enjoy just living and having the experience. Back to the book. Think about it. How often do we pause and truly live in the moment? I read that one. Breaking free from this mindset isn't easy, and honestly, I'm still working on it myself, but I think it starts with small shifts, moments where you stop and ask yourself, What am I experiencing right now? What can I appreciate in this moment? It's about finding balance between planning for the future and living for today. Because if we don't, life becomes nothing more than a series of checkboxes. We need to remember that the present isn't a bridge toward the future, it's life itself. The next thing will come whether we're ready for it or not, but this moment, right now, this is where life happens. If we're always living for what's next, we might miss it entirely. I think the reason we feel so alive during the honeymoon phase of our relationship is because in those moments, we are fully present. We are hyper-focused on learning about the person that we're with, listening to them, looking at them, trying to understand and establish connection. Lust plays a part, sure, and the dopamine is flowing freely, but it's more than that. It's the way we throw ourselves entirely into the experience. When we go on dates during that phase, we're not distracted by thoughts of careers, college, mortgages, or car payments. Instead, we're immersed in conversations about life. We go on dates during that phase. We're not distracted by thoughts of careers, college, mortgages, or car payments. Instead, we're immersed in conversations about life, the universe, music, movies, and all things that we are passionate about. It's raw, it's real, a moment where time seems to slow down. In those times, we're not just living, we are alive. The beauty of this focus is that it's something we can recreate. It takes effort, yes, but it's possible. Planned date nights without distractions, no phones, and no screens can help bring that honeymoon magic back. When you strip away technology and distractions, you are left with each other and the need to engage. Your brain is so used to constant stimulation that it starts searching for ways to fill the void. If you have a tech or social media addiction, having to fill that time can even give you anxiety. Think about it. Have you ever gone to the bathroom and forgotten your phone? Or maybe you're like me and remember the days without smart devices and we resorted to reading shampoo bottles to pass the time. In those moments, your brain kicks into gear looking for anything to occupy it. You start counting tiles, finding patterns in the floor, or even wiggling your toes in the grout just to feel something different. It's strange, but it's also the perfect example of how our brains are wired for engagement. The same principle applies to our relationships. When we remove the distraction and place ourselves in situations where we are not constantly entertained by external stimuli, we are forced to turn inward, to our own thoughts, to the person in front of us, and that's where the magic happens. You start to notice things that you might have overlooked in the chaos of everyday life. The way they smile when they talk about their favorite book, the way their eyes light up when they're passionate about something. You rediscover the small details that made you fall for them in the first place. Recreating that focus from the honeymoon phase isn't about reliving the past. It's about choosing to be fully present now. It's about creating spaces where your connection can thrive, where you can truly see and be seen. And just like those early days, it takes intentional effort, but the reward is worth it. The relationship that feels alive, real, and deeply connected for a relationship. We spend so much of our lives chasing distractions, filling every gap with something, whether it's a phone, a screen, or just endless to-do list in our head. But when you take the time to put those things aside, to quiet the noise, you create space for something far more meaningful. You create space for each other. That's not the main point of this chapter. It's just a way to set the stage. When you slow down from the grind and truly live in the moment, you experience the journey, not just fixating on the goal. To illustrate this, let me give you an example, the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail, or AT, is a hiking trail in the United States that spans almost 2,200 miles. It stretches from Springer Mountain in Georgia all the way to Mount Katahdin in Maine. Crossing through 14 states on average, it takes hikers 5 to 7 months to complete the trail. Think about that for a second. Months spent walking, carrying your gear, living in the wild. People who hike the AT meticulously plan their trips. They set up mail drops for supplies, leave their jobs behind for a while, and start their journey as soon as the weather allows the northbound trek. But here's the thing about hiking the AT. It's not just about getting to the end. Yes, there's a goal to summit Mount Katahdin, but that's not the real purpose of the hike. Along the way, something profound happens. You change. Your perspective shifts. Life slows down, and you start to truly experience the world around you. On the trail, there's no rat race, no deadlines. It's just you and nature. You hike at your own pace. You share the trail with others, and when you feel like it, you camp wherever. You share the trails with others when you feel like it, and you camp where the day takes you. You stop asking, are we there yet? Because the destination becomes less important than the journey itself. You hike your own hike. Hiking the Appalachian Trail isn't just a physical challenge, it's a way of living. A way to step out of the grind, to disconnect from the chaos of everyday life, and to rediscover what it means to simply exist. The trail forces you to be present. You start noticing the world in ways you never did before. the rustle of leaves in the wind, the crunch of your boots on the dirt, the subtle shift of light as the day progresses. I'd love to hike the AT before I die. It's on my bucket list. And the idea of spending months immersed in that kind of simplicity and raw beauty is something that I deeply crave. For now, though, I'm sticking with overlanding. It gives me the chance to explore, slow down, and live a little closer to the way I imagine life on the trail would feel. Plus, I get to share those moments with my wife and eventually my kids, sitting around campfires at night, talking, laughing, and living in the now. And of course, doing the podcast, thanks Starlink and technology. Life is more than just the goals we set. It's the moments we live between those goals that shape us. The Appalachian Trail is a reminder of that, of how slowing down, being present, and embracing the journey can change you in ways you never expected. Slow down. Life is about the journey. Sure, it's short, but it's also the longest thing you'll ever do. So pay attention to the moment, be present, give it your all. Whether it's in the way that you treat people or the tasks you need to accomplish, if you're going to do something, do it all the way or don't do it at all. That's how I live. It's all or nothing with me. The older I get, the more I realize the value of this mindset, not just for the work I do, but for the relationships I have and the way I experience life. I've stopped dwelling so much on the future. For a long time, I lived with my eyes locked on the horizon, focused on building a life for myself. But in doing that, I missed out on so many important moments. The truth is, I never knew how important those moments were. I just let myself believe that they were getting in the way of my progress. They felt like obstacles to my goals. I won't lie. There was a touch of laziness in it and plenty of questioning. Is this really worth my time? With that mindset, I used my ambitions as an excuse. I skipped holidays, missed events, and eventually I disconnected entirely from the people who mattered most. Looking back now, I see those moments clearly and I use them as a tool for growth. I wouldn't call them regrets. I'm not someone who dwells in regret, but there is a mild shame in realizing how much better I could have been for the people I care about. That realization changed me. It's not about whether it matters to me or helps me achieve my goals. It's about the fact that it's about the fact that it matters to them and for them. It's everything. This is using the past as a tool to learn from my mistakes. Take the time. I'm not saying so learn from my mistakes. Take the time. I'm not saying you need to attend every event, every holiday, or completely give up your life to accommodate others. That's not realistic. Then it's not sustainable. What I am saying is this: remember that life is more than just what's next. It's more than the goals that you're chasing or the future that you're building. Life is happening right now in the small moments. You don't overlook because it's happening right now in the small moments you might overlook because you're so focused on what's ahead. Don't let these moments slip by unnoticed. The people in your life, the memories that you're making with them, the connections you're nurturing, those are all things. Those are the things that truly matter in the end. Man, I'm really struggling today. When you slow down and live in the now, you're not giving up on your goals. You're enriching your life. You're enriching the life you're building, making it more meaningful, not just for yourself, but for the ones who share it with you. And that, I promise, is worth everything. Before moving on to the future, I want to take a moment to talk about loneliness and isolation. We live in an era where we're more connected than we've ever been in human history. Social media, messaging apps, and other technology allow us to reach out to almost anyone at any time. But despite this increase in quantity, our connections, the quality of those connections has plummeted. What we call connection has become cold, surface level, and transactional. This is especially true for men. As men, we need community. We need people to hold us accountable for our actions, for how we treat our kids, and for how we treat the women in our lives. There was a time when we had that. We had elders, mentors, and peers who would call us out when we were out of line. Sure, sometimes we were told to suck it up and be a man, but we also had people who genuinely cared enough to correct us when we strayed, regardless of our stage in life. Those communities made us better men. They made us better fathers, husbands, and leaders. They gave us a structure, a sense of belonging, and a clear understanding of what it meant to be responsible, not just to ourselves, but to the people who relied on us. It wasn't always easy or comfortable, but it was necessary. We thrived in those environments because they were built on accountability and mutual respect. Somewhere along the way, we lost that. The rise of hyper-individualism, the illusion of connection through technology has isolated us. We've traded real bonds for likes, comments, and followers, relationships that are often shallow, fleeting, and the consequences are clear. Men are lonelier than ever. We have the highest suicide rate in human history. We're disconnected not just from others, but from ourselves. It's time to change that. It's time to rebuild the sense of community that's been lost. We need to create spaces where men can connect without ego, without pride getting in the way, spaces where we can be vulnerable, hold each other accountable, and lift each other up. Not out of jealousy or hate, but out of love and genuine care. Reconnecting with the community doesn't mean giving up your individuality. It means recognizing that we're stronger together, that we learn and grow through the bonds that we form with others. It means finding people who will push you to be better, not for their sake, but for your own. And for people who depend on you, this becomes reciprocal. Iron sharpens iron. Don't be afraid to admit this is something that you need. Loneliness and isolation are not a natural state for men. We were meant to live in a community, to be part of something bigger than ourselves. It's time to remember that and take the steps to rebuild what we've lost, because when we reconnect with each other, we reconnect with the best parts of ourselves. The future. I only got 15 people in here watching right now. What happened? Did me making this unlisted fucking make people from Discord not want to join us? Shame. Ding. Shame. The future. The future depends on what you do today, Mahatma Gandhi. For those of you who don't know this, I believe Gandhi was the most powerful man who ever lived. Yep. He changed the course of human history without violence, without harming anyone, with total peace and just fucking non-violent protest. Fucking crazy. Before I get... that's the first paragraph here. Before I get into the thoughts of the future, I want to take a moment to reflect on Gandhi. I believe he was one of the most powerful men to ever live. Not powerful in the conventional sense. He didn't command armies or wield wealth, but in the way he changed the world through his sheer will, discipline, and principles. Gandhi lived his life with a steadfast commitment to peace, freedom, and justice. He achieved more with nonviolent tactics than most could ever hope to accomplish through force. Gandhi was born in 1869 in India. He grew up in a world deeply entrenched in colonial rule. His experiences shaped his understanding of inequity and oppression. Those injustices fueled his lifelong fight for change. After studying law in London, he worked in South Africa. Gandhi witnessed firsthand the systemic discrimination faced by Indians and other marginalized communities. These experiences marked the beginning of his journey as a leader who believed in challenging injustice without resorting to violence. Gandhi's philosophy of Satchigraha, I have no idea how to say that out loud. I had to Google what that was called, which roughly translate to truth force or soul force, was the foundation of his activism. It wasn't about passive resistance. It was about active, disciplined, and moral defiance against oppression. Through hunger strikes, boycotts, and civil disobedience, Gandhi inspired millions to stand up against British colonial rule in India. He showed that courage and conviction, combined with an unwavering commitment to peace, it could dismantle even the most entrenched systems of power. But his influence extended far beyond India's independence. Gandhi's teachings of nonviolence and civil disobedience inspired movements around the world. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela drew from his example in their own fights against injustice, proving that his message was universal. What strikes me most about Gandhi is how he lived. His principles every single day. He lived his principles every single day. He believed that change began with the individual, that to create a better world, you first had to be a better person. He embraced simplicity, fasting to purify both body and spirit, and used his own life as an example of the change he wanted to see. His discipline was extraordinary. It wasn't just about resisting external forces. It was about mastering himself. For Gandhi, peace and freedom were inseparable. He saw violence as a chain that enslaved both oppressor and the oppressed. True liberation, he believed, could only come from through understanding, forgiveness, and unity. That vision of peace wasn't passive. It was active, courageous, and deeply humane. His legacy is a reminder of what's possible when we approach the world with discipline, empathy, and unwavering resolve. He showed us that strength isn't always loud or aggressive. Sometimes it's quiet, deliberate, and rooted in love. That kind of power has the ability to change not just systems, but hearts and minds. As I think about the future, Gandhi's life serves as a guidepost. His message of peace, discipline, and justice is one we need now more than ever. He taught us that the path forward isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And the true power lies not in domination, but in the courage to stand for what's right. One of the biggest takeaways I have from Gandhi is the way that he saw the world, chose to navigate it, and how strong mentally he was. It's inspiring and a constant reminder that I am nowhere near where I want to be. This entire book has been about one thing, getting you to change the way that you see the world, to shift your perspective to help you build a future that you can genuinely call successful. It's about setting your family up for happiness and giving your kids the tools they need for success. I've said it over and over again. As a man, it's all on your shoulders. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? When I look at my future, I see my version of retirement. I see it as my version of retirement. My goals, the things that I'm working for in life, are all about enhancing my journey and allowing me to fully enjoy the process of living. When the time comes for me to slow down, I want to do it in a way that makes me feel like I didn't waste my opportunity in life. I want to look back and feel that I've built a life worth living, not just for myself, but for my family. I want to leave something behind for my kids. I want them to have more than just memories. I want them to have a foundation. I picture holidays at my house with my family excited to be there, not out of obligation, but because they want to be. I imagine my grandkids coming over eager to spend time with me doing what I'd call man shit, or what Peaches warmingly refers to as Mad Max shit. I love that woman. Starting fires, camping, shooting, riding side by sides. Those aren't just activities, they're moments to connect and to bond, to pass on life lessons in a way that matters. I want them to grow up saying, Pop's always said this, and when using those lessons to navigate life in a way that sets them up for success. To me, future is about legacy. I want them to be the pillar that holds my family up, not just while I'm here, but long after I'm gone. I want the values I've lived and the lessons I've taught to ripple through generations. The future doesn't exist yet, but one day it will. And when that day comes, I want to step into it knowing that I've lived with purpose and that I'm still on this lifelong hike, so to speak. The journey doesn't end with achieving your goals. It doesn't end when you reach the top of the hill. Life to me is about continuing to move forward, to grow, to be there for the people you care about, and enjoy every step along the way. That's the kind of future I'm building. A future where the process is just as meaningful as the destination, and where the people I love are always better because I was here. It's why the To Be Better motto is always forward. So again, I will ask, what are you going to do about it? What kind of future are you building, not just for yourself, but for the ones who will come after you? The answer lies in the choices that you make right now and the way that you carry the weight on your shoulders, because the legacy that you leave starts today. If you died tomorrow, though, how much of your life did you live in the present? I feel like that's a good marker to judge how we need to adjust things. One last thing on the future. I know I've mentioned the podcast and in other projects throughout this book quite a bit. Let me be clear. This isn't a sales pitch or a self-promotion. It's about offering you a resource, something that we've poured time and energy and heart into, because we believe it can make a real difference. We want you to use it to take what we've built and turn it into something meaningful for yourself, for your family, and your future. This goes on to talk about To Be Focused, but we've discontinued that. So I'm going to end chapter 8 by saying that if you're not a part of our Patreon community or a member of our Discord, you really, really need to get into there. It's life-changing. If you can get in there and actually be a part of the community and connect with people, it's life-changing. Chapter 9, Your Word, Your Character, and Your Set Standard. You are what you do, not what you say you will do, by Carl Jung. This chapter isn't what I originally planned when I started writing this book. The chapter I intended to put here doesn't feel relevant anymore. I bring this up to make a simple point. Sometimes what we've planned or what we think we want doesn't fit the bigger picture, and that's okay. Life evolves, and so should we. A man is only as good as his word. In life, you can lose everything. Your job, your home, your income, your family, all you've built can crumble. However, the one thing you can't lose is your word. Living a life of integrity and honor says everything about you as a man, a father, a husband, a leader, and a business owner. Your word should be part of your identity, your personal brand. Say what you mean what you say. When you marry someone, you're offering your bride two things: your last name and your word. Your name carries no weight in your word if your word is unreliable. What you're really bringing into the marriage, or what are you really bringing to the marriage? What does it mean to promise a life together if that promise can't be trusted? Why would she want to take your last name if your last name is attached to a life of dishonor? You will face situations where it would be easy to break your word. Life will test you. The I don't want tos will creep in, Maybe you've had a long day. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're overwhelmed, distracted, feeling stretched too thin. You'll feel tempted to back out of commitments you've made to people, even those close to you. But those moments are where your character is truly defined. Think about the promises you make to your kids. Maybe you told them you throw the ball after work or build a Lego set. They've been begging to start. But then the day gets away from you, work runs long, other responsibilities pile up, suddenly it's dark outside or it's already bath time and you see the disappointment on their faces when you have to tell them that you forgot. To a child that spends their entire day waiting for that moment of playtime with their hero, your I forgot or I was busy tells them you don't matter and what I actually forgot was you. That's the weight of your word. It's not about keeping promises to your boss or your clients. It's about the promises you make to the people who look up to you, who trust you without hesitation. Your kids don't care about the excuses or the reasons why you couldn't follow through. They don't understand your job or your money. They don't understand your commitments to others. They understand that you didn't follow through, though. To them, your word is everything, and when you break it, it matters. Living with integrity isn't always easy. Sometimes it's inconvenient. Sometimes it's exhausting. It's necessary. Your word isn't just something you give, it's something you live. It's the foundation of who you are and how others see you. When you honor your word, even in the small things, you're teaching your kids and the people around you what it means to be dependable. You're showing them that integrity isn't just value. It's a choice that you make every single day. And when you mess up, and you will mess up, it's about making excuses. It's about owning it. Acknowledge where you fell short, apologize, and commit to doing better, then implement the change. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about striving to be honest, accountable, and consistent. At the end of the day, your word is your legacy. It's what people will remember about you long after everything else has faded. Make it count. You may be someone who's messed up a lot in life. I know I certainly am. I've fallen short of the standard I believe a man should uphold more times than I can count. Sometimes it was out of selfishness, sometimes out of greed, sometimes sheer hatred. It's shocking how easy it is to move the line of what we consider acceptable in the moment and how quickly we can compromise our character for personal gain. I used to believe that everyone has a price, that there's always that one thing that we want, money, fame, a woman, or something else that we were willing to compromise our integrity for. Most people would deny it, of course, but deep down, if we're honest with ourselves, we know it's true. So what's yours? What would it take for you to compromise your values? Do you have a price, a dollar amount, a dream big enough to sell out for? The happier and more fulfilled you become in life, the less likely you are to have that number, or the higher it becomes. When you're content, when you're genuinely living a life aligned with your values, it's much harder to betray yourself. That's because you found something more valuable than any quick gain: peace, purpose, and a sense of self-worth that can't be bought. The beauty of acknowledging your past mistakes, your compromises, and your transgressions is that it gives you the power to change. You can't rewrite the past, but you can change the story going forward. If you've tarnished your word, you can rebuild its value, not through more words, but through consistent action. Your past doesn't have to define you. Yes, it shapes you, but it doesn't have to determine who you're striving to be tomorrow. If you failed, fallen short, or lost sight of your values, you're not alone. The question isn't whether you've messed up. The question is, what are you going to do about it now? Rebuilding trust isn't easy. It's a process that takes time, consistency, and effort, but it's possible. Start by being honest with yourself. Own your mistakes, no matter how uncomfortable it is to face them. Stop making excuses. Stop shifting the blame, and most importantly, stop compromising. Take accountability. Your word, your integrity, your character, they're not lost forever just because you've stumbled. There are things you can reclaim every time you keep a promise, follow through on a commitment, or resist the urge to take the easy way out. You are proving to yourself and to others that you are capable of change, slowly becoming a different man than before. You're becoming someone new, someone better, someone stronger. Everyone has a past, but not everyone chooses to learn from it. The ones who do, the ones who use their past to fuel to grow, are the ones who rise above. Ask yourself again, what's your price? And if the answer is still something tangible, something fleeting, then maybe it's time to reevaluate what you truly value. Because the closer you get to living a life of fulfillment, the less likely you'll ever be to sell yourself short again. Another critical aspect of being a man of your word is the ability to be on time. Another critical aspect of being a man of your word is the ability to be on time. Punctuality reflects respect, discipline, and integrity. Yet so many people are habitually late to work, dates, job interviews, business meetings, doctor appointments, and more. These are all moments where we set specific times, where we communicate our commitment to being present at a certain hour. When you show up on time, you're doing more than meeting an obligation, you're keeping your word. When you are punctual, you're saying, I value your time. You're acknowledging that the other person made space for you in their day and showing that you respect them enough to not waste it. And showing that you respect them enough not to waste it. Time is the one resource that we can't get back. And being on time says, I appreciate you, I respect your effort, and I will honor the time that you've given me by showing up as promised. It's a small but powerful way to demonstrate integrity. Now, let's flip the script. When you're late, whether you mean to or not, you are sending a very different message. Being late says, I lack discipline and foresight. It says, your time doesn't matter to me, and I'm more important than you are. To make it worse, most people don't just show up late, they're bringing excuses with them. And let's be honest, those excuses are often fabricated or exaggerated to save face. When you start something by standing on a lie, you're not just being disrespectful, you're actively undermining your integrity. Being late is a choice. Yes, things happen, traffic delays or unexpected situations, but those things aren't unpredictable if you're honest with yourself. Most of the time, being late comes down to lack of planning or lack of care. You didn't have the discipline to leave a little early to prepare for the potential delays or prioritize the commitment you made. People notice these things even if they don't call you on it. When you're habitually late, you're sending a consistent message, I can't be trusted to keep my word. And that message doesn't go unnoticed. Over time, it erodes respect. People may not confront you about it, but they'll file it away. They'll see it as a lack of accountability, the excuses, and the disrespect. And they'll know that your word doesn't mean anything. Your punctuality or lack thereof isn't just about time, it's about character. When you're late, you're showing people who you are, undisciplined, unreliable, and disrespectful. When you're on time, you're showing them something very different, that you're dependable, considerate, and someone whose word means something. Being a man of your word is about more than big promises. It's about the small commitments too. And showing up on time is as simple as it seems, is one of the most tangible ways to prove you have the ability to follow through, because in the end, your actions will always speak louder than your excuses. I live by, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. One last thing about being late. If you're someone who is consistently punctual, the rare times you are late will be met with far more understanding. People might even worry about you, assuming something serious may have happened. That's the respect punctuality earns. It shows people that you're reliable, so when something out of character occurs, you're more likely to be given grace. If there's a chance you might be late, do the respectful thing, send a quick call or text to let the other person know, explain the situation even briefly. Don't just stroll in like it's no big deal. Taking a moment to communicate shows that you respect their time, even if you couldn't meet the original commitment. It helps save face and maintain credibility. And if you're late, here's a simple rule. Don't lie about it. Be honest. Say, I didn't leave on time. I dropped the ball. It won't happen again. Then move on. Owning it is far better than adding dishonesty to the mix. It's bad enough you were careless with your time management. Don't make it worse by being dishonest. Lying compounds the offense, making it not just about poor planning, but also about a lack of integrity. Mistakes happen, but how you handle them speaks volume about your character. Be honest, be accountable, and do better next time. How you maintain respect and keep your word intact. That's how you maintain respect and keep your word intact. Your character. Character is often defined as the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. It's clean and straight. That's a clean and straightforward definition. When I was a young man in a halfway house, the counselor gave me a perspective on character that I've never forgotten. He told us, remember he was talking to a room full of felons, that your character is defined by what you would do if you knew no one would ever, what you would do if you knew you would never get caught. That stuck with me, but over time I've grown and changed. I've adapted it into something slightly different. To me, character is about what you would do if no one ever knew you were responsible for it. Would you still do the right thing if there were no recognition, no credit, no applause? Would you own your mistakes even if no one else could hold you accountable? Would you help someone without expecting anything in return, not even gratitude? If you have helped someone, do you hang it over their head for control or to remind them that they owe you? Do you tell everyone around you about it so that they can see the kind of man you are? If you do those things, you are a manipulator and you have poor character. Your true character isn't about how you act when people are watching. It's about what you choose to do when no one is. It's the quiet decisions, the unseen moments, the unacknowledged efforts. Those are the things that define who you really are. Character isn't something you can fake. It's built over time. In those small, unnoticed choices. And whether you're in a room full of people or completely alone, those choices add up. They show the world and yourself who you truly are. Have you ever seen those videos on social media where someone pays for another person's groceries or gives money to the homeless? They're everywhere, especially on TikTok. They're meant to be feel-good videos and little snippets of kindness that people share to brighten your feed. But think about it from a perspective of the person on the receiving end. Could you imagine being on the streets, swallowing your pride to ask for help, only to have some guy shove a camera in your face while he hands you a few bucks just so that he can rack up likes and followers? Where's the honor in that? These so-called acts of kindness aren't kind at all. They're self-serving stunts designed to gain views, not genuinely help someone. The focus isn't on the person in need, it's on the person holding the camera or being recorded. If they truly wanted to make a difference, there are countless ways they could use that money to actually help people. Maybe buy cold weather clothing, socks, food hygiene, supplies, or other essentials. They could organize food drives or set up in areas where people are struggling, hand out what's needed, and then pack up and leave when it's all gone. They could do all of this without ever recording it, without posting it, without needing validation. Both of those situations show the character of the person. The only time recording something like this makes sense to me is when it serves the greater purpose, when it's about inspiring others to join the cause, raising awareness, or encouraging donations to support the next effort. Even then, the focus should always be on the cause, not making yourself look good. True kindness doesn't need an audience. It doesn't crave likes or shares. It's quiet, selfless, and driven by desire to help, not to be seen helping. Having good character is doing the right thing when no one's watching, even more so when no one will ever know it was you. Your character is like your word. It should never be questioned, doubted, or compromised. These are the things that shape who you are as a person. Character isn't something you talk about. It's something you show through action. When you consistently hold true to your word and demonstrate integrity, people notice. Over time, they stop questioning you, stop doubting your motives, and instead they trust you. This trust enriches the bonds you share with others, creating deeper and more meaningful relationships. By living with unwavering character, you're setting a new standard for your life. And as you do, you'll start to notice changes in the people around you. Some will naturally align with your values, grow with you. Others will, however, fade away. Your social circle may get smaller, but it will become stronger. The people who remain will either rise to meet the standards you've set or show themselves at the door. But be warned, not everyone will grow with you. Many won't even try. Some will fake it, but few will truly embrace the effort it takes to level up. And here's the hard truth. That's not your burden to carry. As you grow and elevate your life, you might feel the urge to reach back and pull others up with you. That's not a bad thing. Helping others climb is part of leadership. But there's a difference between pulling someone up who's genuinely trying to drag someone down who has no interest in helping themselves. By setting clear standards for what you will and will not accept, you're not only committing to those standards, you're challenging yourself to exceed them. This ties directly into the core values that we talked about earlier in the book. Living by these principles and refusing to tolerate less from yourself or others will be tough at first. But when you truly understand your worth, when you believe in the man or woman that you aspire to be, the one that you described in your eulogy, you will see the need to start enforcing boundaries in your life. Now, if you're someone who naturally avoids conflict, if you're a people pleaser or struggle to say no, you might be cringing right now. You've probably heard all of this before and dismissed it, thinking it's easier said than done, but here's something that you might not have considered. You can set boundaries, uphold a higher standard, learn to love yourself, and weed out unmotivated people without creating conflict. Yes, people may push back. Some may resent the fact that they can no longer take advantage of you. Let them. That's not a bad thing. It's a sign that you're growing. Growth is uncomfortable both for you and those who are used to you staying the same. This doesn't mean that there needs to be hostility. One thing we always say on the podcast is protect your peace. You don't have to argue with someone to prove a point or defend your boundaries. In fact, you can't have an argument unless you choose to engage. Let people feel how they want to feel. If someone is upset because you're setting boundaries or choosing to live to higher standards, that is a them problem, not a you problem. It doesn't require a debate, a justification, or even acknowledgement. Let them sit with their feelings while you go on living your life. Your wins and losses belong to you, not them. Protect your peace, hold your ground, and keep moving forward. Growth doesn't require conflict, it requires commitment. I want to wrap up this chapter by talking about boundaries. Setting and maintaining boundaries in your life isn't about controlling others. It's about dictating. It's not about dictating what others can and can't do. Boundaries are about defining what you will or will not accept in your life. They are a reflection of your standards, your values, and your self-respect. One of the most debated clips I've ever had on the podcast revolves around this very topic. In the clip, I said, you can have a bar life or you can have a husband, but you can't have both. The wording was intentional. It was meant to spark conversations and make a point, and boy, did it piss people off. I was called every name in the book: misogynist, controlling, narcissistic, the list goes on. The word controlling was the one I heard the most. But here's the thing. It was never about controlling anyone. It was about living my life with a clear standard. I'm not a heavy drinker. I'm not a party goer. I'm not a bar hopper or someone who even enjoys those environments. I know what happens in bars. I understand how alcohol lowers inhibitions. Some people might be okay marrying someone who lives that lifestyle, but I am not, and that's my choice. At no point did I say my wife couldn't do the things she wanted to do. She absolutely can. She's free to make her own decisions, but I am free to make mine as well. My boundary is that I don't want to live that kind of life, and I won't accept that behavior in my marriage. I'm blessed in my relationship because this was never a fight or even a difficult conversation. When Peaches and I talked about it early in our marriage, I was honest with her. I told her that going out to bars and partying made me uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep while she was out. It just wasn't something I could handle. That was it. I didn't demand or control. I just shared my feelings and where I stood. The next day, she told me she was done with the bars. She said I mattered more to her than going out and getting drunk. That was her choice, and it was a powerful one. Since then, her social circle of drinking buddies has naturally fallen away, replaced by people who support her, share her values, and provide emotional connection that's positive and reciprocal. You know what's interesting? All the people that she used to drink with at the time at the time I'm writing this book are still doing the same thing. They're stuck in the same cycle. There's been no growth in their lives. Meanwhile, Peaches has elevated herself, created a new, healthier environment, and surrounded herself with people who contribute to her happiness and well-being. That's what happens when you set boundaries and choose to grow. Boundaries aren't about control. They're about clarity. They're about knowing who you are, what you value, and what you're willing to accept in your life. And when you live by those standards, you naturally attract people who align with them and distance yourself from those who don't. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Boundaries are also essential for effective leadership. Leadership without boundaries is like a ship without a rudder. It drifts aimlessly, leaving people who would rely on it confused and disoriented. If you have no backbone, if you're constantly second guessing yourself or acting wishy-washy with the people you're supposed to lead, they'll quickly lose faith in your ability to guide them. Leadership starts with clarity, knowing your core values, your expectations, your standards, the standards you hold yourself and others to. Boundaries reinforce that clarity. They communicate to the people around you what you stand for, what you'll tolerate, and what you won't. Without them, you become inconsistent, reactive, and unreliable. And who wants to follow someone they can't trust to make firm decisive choices? Do you want to be a doormat for the rest of your life? On the other hand, when you lead with clear boundaries, you create an environment of respect and trust. People know where you stand. They know where they stand. They understand what's expected of them, and and they can rely on you to stay consistent even when it's uncomfortable. Boundaries don't just protect your leadership, they strengthen it. They provide a framework for others to follow and a sense of security that you'll do what's right, not easy. Great leaders lead by example. I call it leading from the front. When you set and maintain boundaries, you're teaching others the value of self-respect, discipline, and accountability. You're showing your team, your family, or anyone who looks up to you that it's possible to live with integrity while still being compassionate and fair. You're modeling a behavior that encourages others to do the same, to set their own boundaries and take ownership of their lives. You're also doing this for yourself. Start developing habits and routines that put you where you want to be. Final chapter, chapter 10, the Serenity Prayer. I chose this final chapter of the book because I feel it encapsulates so much of what we've discussed. The Serenity Prayer is commonly associated with Alcoholics Anonymous and other addiction recovery programs. But its message extends far beyond those communities. It's a prayer of acceptance, courage, and wisdom, a blueprint for navigating life's challenges with grace and purpose, attributed to Reinhold Niebuhr, a Lutheran theologian. It resonates regardless of whether you're religious or not. Take a moment to read it, break it down, and reflect on what's being asked. It's simple, yet incredibly profound. I know that I have my faith and Peaches has her faith, and we, I don't want to say we're a faith-based podcast, but we kind of are. I try not to be preachy on the podcast. I try not to do that. And I'm trying not to do it in this book by reading the serenity prayer. But what the serenity prayer is so profound that like, it just fucking makes sense to end the book with it. Serenity defined: the state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm going to break this down. I'm just going to read the whole thing first, though. Living one day at a time, enjoying the moment, one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever. All right, so breaking this down, I wanted to put the whole serenity prayer on here. I know that part, the very first paragraph, is what everybody gets tattooed on them and is the t-shirt quote. It's fucking bathroom memes. But that first paragraph is so impactful that like I couldn't just let this ride. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. So that's the first line. And my perspective of that is, God, I'm tired. I'm tired. Carried so much for so long. And I no longer want to be burdened by it. I've spent years dwelling in the past that no longer exists, and I want to let it all go. I know I can't change it. This line is about acceptance. Life is full of lessons. Most of them are learned the hard way. We all have a past, and most of us aren't proud of every part of it, but the past isn't something that we can rewrite. It's something we must learn from and move beyond. The courage to change the things I can. Change is hard. Facing the things that I've done is even harder. It's going to bring shame, discomfort, and fear. But I know that change is only the path to a better light. I know that change is the only path to a better life. Courage is required to confront the truth, and strength is needed to implement real change. I'm ready to do so. I know I can't control the actions of others, but I can control my own. True change begins with the ownership and accountability, and it starts with me. The wisdom to know the difference. Give me guidance. That's what I need most. I've made so many mistakes in my life, and I'm trying to take responsibility for them, but accountability only works when it's clear and focused. I need wisdom to distinguish between what I can fix and what I must let go of. I can't change other people no matter how much I want to, but I can change myself. My choices dictate my world, how I see it, how I navigate it, and the people I allow to share it with me. Wisdom is knowing where my influence ends and acceptance begins. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. I want to be present. I don't want to be weighed down by tomorrow's worries or haunted by yesterday's mistakes. I want to drink life in, savoring the moments that make up the journey. Life isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about appreciating the scenery along the way. Every day, every moment has value. I want to find meaning in the now, not just in what lies ahead and not after when it's too late to appreciate it. I said this before, guys. I'm going to say it again. The destination for everyone is death. That is all of our destination. And if that's all we're focusing on is the what's next, we're going to miss out on this amazing thing that we get to live. Accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Life isn't supposed to be easy. The obstacles we face teach us lessons, shaping who we are and preparing us for what's to come. Hardships are inevitable, but they're also necessary. They test us, strengthen us, and ultimately guide us towards peace. Even when life is hard, I remind myself that it could always be worse and that I have the power to make it better. That power lies in my choices. Sometimes what we think we want or need isn't good for us at all. This includes people, habits, and even dreams that no longer serve us. Taking as he did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Sometimes obstacles are going to be placed in our path so that we can learn something that will make us succeed in the future. Obstacles, hardships, and the lessons we learn in life is part of the journey. Even though what you're going through might suck, the truth is it could be a lot worse. It could also be a lot better. That comes down to your decisions. Lastly, sometimes the things that we think we want or need are absolutely not good for us. This includes people. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever. This part does speak directly to faith. It's about trusting that everything that happens for a reason, and surrendering to the guidance of something greater than myself. For me, that trust lies in my relationship with God. I've seen too many miracles in my life to ignore them. I believe God gave me my wife. As part of his plan. She gave her life to God, and together we've trusted in the guidance of prayer. That trust has brought us blessings and peace, even in the hardest times. He has protected our homes, businesses, and set up the podcast, guided our community, gave us direction when we were unsure, and all of that comes from faith. Could we have done this on our own? Maybe, maybe not. I don't have to ask that question because I truly believe our lives are in his hands and that we are doing our best. Even if you're not religious, this line carries weight. It's about trusting the process of life and the idea that things will align as they're meant to when you act with integrity, patience, and purpose. When you live every day with intent and holding to your core values, it's about letting go of the need to control everything and finding peace and surrender to it. It's about changing your mindset from this is a problem to this is an opportunity. I started this book by telling you that your perspective is reality. And if you haven't taken that to heart by now, that's on you. This isn't some feel-good mantra, it's the truth. Everything in your life, every success, every failure, every missed opportunity is a reflection of the way that you see the world and the choices that you make. You can either use that truth to take control of your life, or you can keep hiding behind excuses. The choice is yours. But don't fool yourself into thinking that anyone else is responsible for where you are right now. If you're going to embrace this, you have to take full accountability for your life and actions. There's no way around it. Accountability means doing the work, the real work, to change how you see things and what you do about them. It means seeing opportunities where you used to see obstacles. It means knowing when to cut people out of your life because they don't fit into the future that you're trying to build. It means getting off your ass and believing in yourself even when no one else does. So stop whining, stop complaining, stop being a negative Nancy. That shit doesn't serve you anymore. By now, you should have a clear idea of who you want to be, what kind of life you want to live, and what you want people to say about you when you're gone. If you don't figure it out now, no one is going to hand you the answers. If you don't figure it out now, period. No one is going to hand you the answers. No one cares about your excuses. No one's coming to save you. If you're living now, if the life you're living now, let's call it what it is a direct result of your choices, the complaining, yours, the blaming of others for your lack of action, yours, your inability to lead and make decisions to step up when it matters, that's all on you. Stop blaming the economy, stop blaming the government, stop blaming your boss, your coworkers, your friends, or even your wife. None of those things are holding you back. You are. All of your shortcomings are yours. They always have been, they always will be until you decide to own them. You need to stop lying to yourself. You're not a victim. You're not unlucky. You're not stuck. You're not taking responsibility. And until you do, nothing in your life will change. One of my favorite bands, Suicidal Tendencies, has a song called Gotta Kill Captain Stupid. It says, so now you say life sucks. Well, 99% of life is what you make of it. So if your life sucks, you suck. If your life sucks right now, that's on you. If you're falling short of the man or woman you claim to be, that's on you. If you're still sitting here making excuses instead of making moves, guess what? That's on you too. And all of this will show in your future, so get comfortable. But here's good news. If your problems are yours, so are the solutions. You have the power to fix this. You have the power to rewrite your story, rebuild your character, and create the life you want. But if you're ever going to get there, but you're never going to get there until you take responsibility for where you are. Own your shit, learn from it, and do the work to get better. Your perspective is your reality. If you don't like your reality, change it, but stop pretending it's anyone else, that there is anyone else to blame. The time for excuses is over. It's time to get to work. When I was in my early 20s, I found myself driving in the passenger seat of my then girlfriend's car, driving down I-75 in Florida. The car hummed along, but inside I was completely silent, staring out the window. Lost in my thoughts, I remember thinking to myself, I'm 25 years old, and what do I have to show for it? I had no education, no degrees, a few felonies under my belt. My body was covered in shitty tattoos, and I was renting a room for $50 a week. Between that $200 a month rental and my child support payments, my cell phone bill, I was flat broke. No savings to fall back on, no car. My engine had just blown up, leaving me stranded without transportation. I didn't have anyone to turn to for help, and even if I did, they wouldn't have trusted me enough to loan me the money because they knew it would take forever for me to pay it back. And you know what? I always did pay people back eventually, but that didn't matter. People saw me for what I was, a walking, talking disaster. Sitting there in that car, staring out the window, I was at my lowest. I wasn't contemplating my future. I was seriously contemplating checking out of this world entirely. My girlfriend at the time broke the silence. What's going on? She asked, pulling me out of my head. And that's when it all came crashing down. I broke. I broke. I started sobbing, ugly crying, letting out years of frustration, fear, and hopelessness. I had no faith in myself. My childhood trauma felt like it was suffocating me. I had no real support system, and in that moment, I did not see a way out. But after that car ride, something shifted. I realized I had two choices. I could keep spiraling, give up entirely and end my life, or I could fight. I could buckle down, stop selling and doing drugs, start clawing my way toward the life I wanted, but never believed I could have. I'll be honest with you, that first option felt a hell of a lot easier, and over the next 20 years, I got close to taking it, really close. I made an attempt once, pills and alcohol. This is a story for another time. Though this was an actual attempt, there were many times that I was on the brink, sitting there with a weapon in my hand. The only reason why I never pulled the trigger was because I believed I deserved more. That this shitty life that I have lived up until this point couldn't be my life. That I deserved to be happy. To experience true happiness and peace at least once in my life. And I have it. During those 20 years, I also started building the life I dreamed of. It wasn't easy, not by a long shot. There was struggle, hardship, and pain. There were setbacks so brutal that made me question my worth, or if it was worth it. I learned hard, expensive lessons that still sting when I think about it. This is normal life shit. However, I didn't see it that way. It took a long time to understand that in order to succeed, you have to fail a few times. I didn't have mentors to guide me. I didn't have anyone to lean on. So I did what I could. I paid attention and watched people around me, what they did right, and more importantly, what they did wrong. I made it a point to avoid the mistakes I saw others making, to carve out a path that felt true to me. We're all lucky enough to live with the internet. Say what you want about it. The internet was a godsend. YouTube, social media, these tools became my lifelines. I taught myself things I never thought I'd be able to do. I learned, I adapted, and I kept pushing forward. Here's the thing. You don't need a perfect setup to build a better life. You don't need a mentor or a support system or a head start. You just need the willpower. You just need willpower and the determination to figure it out. If you're alive, you've got the internet in your pocket. You've got access to more resources than the entire generations before us could have dreamed of. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not, but it's possible. I'm living proof of that. One of the most valuable lessons I've had to learn in life is the importance of slowing down. We all want what we want, and we want it right now. The hard truth is, if you rush to the end result without understanding the process, you're almost guaranteed to lose it. And I'll give you an example. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the perfect body, the one you've always dreamed of. It sounds amazing, right? Here's the catch. In 6 months, it would likely be gone. Why? Because you didn't do the work. You don't understand macros, nutrition, and how to exercise effectively, or how to sustain a healthy lifestyle. That perfect body would slip through your fingers because you lack the tools and habits to maintain it. However, say if you set a realistic goal to lose 50 or 100 pounds in a year, You start doing the work, learn about food, understand your nutritional needs. Figure out when to eat carbs and how much protein you need. You educate yourself on cardio, weightlifting, and what it means to live an active, healthy lifestyle. By the time you reach your goal, you'll have more than a transformed body. You'll have a foundation of knowledge and habits to keep it that way. And even when life happens and you gain some of it or all of it back, you now have the tools to rebuild. You know what you need to do. And more importantly, why it works. That knowledge is a tool, and it's something that no one can take from you. This principle doesn't just apply to fitness. It applies to business, finances, trade, work, hobbies, relationships, pretty much everything in life. Rushing to the finish line might get you there quickly, but it won't prepare you to stay there. When you take the time to understand the process, the why, and the how behind what you're doing, you develop mastery. Mastery gives you the ability to adapt, to problem solve, course correct when things don't go as planned. It makes you resilient. Let's talk about business. If you want to build a successful company, it's not enough to just have a good idea. You need to understand your market, your finances, your operations, etc., and how to manage people. You need to make mistakes and learn from them. Grow from the process, grow through the process. If success comes too quickly before you've learned these lessons, it's easy for it to slip away just as fast. But when you put in the work, when you face setbacks and figured out how to overcome them, you're building something that can last. Same goes for relationships. If you want a deep, meaningful connection with somebody, you have to invest time and effort. You need to learn about them, understand their needs, and work through challenges together. If you rush into something without building that foundation, it's unlikely to stand the test of time. But when you take the time to grow together, to learn to communicate and navigate life as a team, you're creating something strong and enduring. The truth is, life is about the journey, not just the destination. The work you put in, the lessons you learn along the way, and the mastery you develop, those are what give you your achievements and value. Those are what give your achievements value and longevity. So slow down, do the work, embrace the process, because the goal isn't just to get what you want, it's to keep it, to grow with it, and to build something that lasts. I've always been an all or nothing person. When I decided to do something, I hyperfixate, obsess over it. I live, eat, breathe, and sleep this new obsession. I try to learn as much as I can. I want to not just know it. I want to understand it, truly understand it. There is a difference between slowing down. Between slowing down to do the work and slowing down to procrastinate. If you're making the effort to slow down, use that time to obsess over your goals. When I opened my first shop, it failed. I thought I was ready to take the leap into owning my own business. I maxed out every credit card I had, scraped together whatever money I could find, and bought everything on a budget. Used furniture, second-hand equipment, you name it. I wasn't building a dream. I was building something I could afford. I owned the piercing side of a shop that was opening up. The guy running the show was an older, semi-retired smooth talker who would sell water to a drowning man. It sold me on the location of how perfect it was going to be. He sold me on his reputation, his connections, and the clients he'd bring. I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I saw what I thought was an opportunity to finally be able to be my own boss, and I dove in head first. That 6 months taught me more about business than I ever could have imagined. It taught me that location matters. It taught me that marketing matters. That understanding social media is crucial. I could go on and on listing all the lessons I learned, but the point is, I didn't walk away empty-handed. I walked away educated, humbled, and ready to start over. I also walked away fucking broke with a shit ton of credit card debt. Let me be clear, those 6 months weren't easy. I destroyed my credit. I struggled financially, and I set myself back like you wouldn't believe. And when it was over, I walked away from that shop and with nothing but my furniture, jewelry, and depression. I almost quit the industry over that. I ended up taking a few weeks off, and yet I wouldn't trade those 6 months for anything. That failure forced me to reevaluate everything. Over the next few years, I started rebuilding. I fixed my credit, slowly but surely began buying things I knew I would need to open a real studio. Not just what I could afford, but what I knew would make the shop successful. I built relationships, not just with potential clients, but with other business owners in town. Lost my spot because my watch went off. I worked on making a name for myself, not just as an artist, but as someone who was a part of the local community. By the time I opened my own studio, I had just about everything I needed. I wasn't winging it anymore. I had a plan and a foundation and the drive to make it work. On October 27th, we opened the doors to my first full studio. We had 7 cents left in the bank, and rent was due November 1st, but we made it happen. The next 8 months were grueling. It was long hours, endless hustle, and constant learning. But that shop survived. Not only did it survive, it thrived. Today, that shop is 14 years old. Next month, it turns 15. It has branched out in ways I never imagined. I have apprenticed artists, helped others open their own studios, and built something I consider to be a huge success. Not just financially, but in the lives it's touched and other opportunities it's created for others. Failure is an incredible teacher if you're willing to learn from it. That first shop may have failed, but the lessons I took from it built a foundation for everything that came after it. It taught me patience, planning, and the importance of doing things right instead of the fast way. Don't let your failures break you, let them teach you. Maybe one day I'll tell the full story of opening my first studio and about everything that's happened since, but for now, just trust when I say failure isn't the end. It's an opportunity. Those failures may seem like the end of the world to you. They have been to me, but failing where I did gave me the tools I needed for a larger success in life. You can apply the same logic to relationships and marriages if you're willing to be honest with yourself and take accountability. Everything I've talked about in this chapter has been about my shortcomings, my lack of education, getting covered in shitty tattoos, selling drugs, using drugs, letting someone sell me on a dream without doing the research, my suicide struggles, all of it was me. I could sit here and point fingers and I could say my parents abused me, the life they lived set me up for failure, the public school system failed me, Florida pill mills made me getting on drugs easy, it was population control and big pharma getting rich, the guy that sold me on the shop lied to me and took advantage of me, the only way to access my younger client base, he only wanted access to my younger client base. He didn't market, advertise, or even show up most of the time. I could say all of that. And it might even sound true, but someone who doesn't know better, that's bullshit. Every single one of those things could be true and still wouldn't matter. My shortcomings, they're on me. My failures, also on me. At the end of the day, everything comes down to the choices that I made, the chances I didn't take, and the lessons I ignored. Reading what I've written here, one thing stands out. I never blamed anyone else for my losses or failures. Because the truth is, I have no one else to blame. My life, the good, the bad, the ugly, is the direct result of the choices that I have made. I am not a victim. Have I been foolish? Yes, I have. But being foolish doesn't take the responsibility off my shoulders. How I've used my time, that's on me too. I could have sat in that failing studio, twiddling my thumbs, doing nothing to learn, to improve my skills, to market, or to grow. I could have sat on the couch, high, sleeping, complaining on social media about how slow it was, about how bad my life sucked. But what would that have gotten me? More of the same. The fact is, time is the one resource that you can never get back. There's no such thing as free time, downtime, or extra time. Those are all lies people tell themselves when they're wasting time. You can't pour more back into your life, and once it's gone, it's gone. This is your wake-up call. This is your chance to change your life. It's your reminder that whatever you do, win or lose, it's on you. That your future, every success, every failure, every decision is yours to own. That's not me being harsh. That's reality. You're it. You're the solution. You're the one who has to take responsibility and the one who has to do the work. No one is coming to save you. So what are you going to do about it? This has been a rough chapter. This is the hardest one for me to read so far. Epilogue. This isn't really an epilogue. It's not me wrapping everything up neatly, highlighting the most impactful points, or giving you polished conclusions. This is just me taking a moment to thank you. If you've read or listened to this book, if you've listened to the content we've put out, if you've stuck with me through my rants and reflections, thank you. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe. This book wasn't meticulously planned over months or years. It wasn't some grand project with intricate outline or a team of editors shaping my thoughts. I wrote this in 2 weeks. It's a mix of conversations I wanted to have, raw thoughts, mild ramblings, and if I'm being honest, a whole lot of frustration. Frustration with what the modern man has become. Frustration with the whining, the crying, the endless excuses, the sheer lack of accountability. There are people in my life, people I've cut out, people I'm in the process of cutting out, and people I've grown to despise because of the whining, crying bullshit. These are people who refuse to take ownership of their lives, who just let the current of the universe push them wherever it wants. It pisses me off in ways I can't even fully describe. I used to feel compassion for these people. I used to pity them. I thought maybe they just need someone to guide them, to help them see the way forward. I don't feel that anymore. Not pity, not compassion, not anything but contempt, because I have accepted that they are making the choice to live like this. There's no excuse for it anymore. None. Not with the sheer amount of information out there, not with the resources we have at our fingertips. You can change your life. You can change your situation. It all comes down to wanting it bad enough. I constantly hear, I don't know where to start. Really? You don't know where to start? Let me ask you something. Where do you go when you want to know literally anything else? I bet it's Google. I bet it's YouTube. You already know where to start. You're just making excuses because it's easier to stay stuck than it is to put in the work. Let me ask you another question. Do you need permission? Is that what's holding you back? If it is, fine. Here's your permission. I am giving it to you right now. Your life is yours to live. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's coming to save you. If you want a better life, get off your ass and make it happen. If you have to decide, really decide that enough is enough. No more excuses. No more blaming the economy, your parents, your partner, your boss, or the government. The only thing stopping you is you. Stop waiting, stop whining, stop asking for permission, and start doing. This book isn't a magic solution. It's not going to fix your life. What it can do is give you a new perspective, a new mindset, the kick in the ass you need to start taking responsibility for your life. What you do with it, that's on you. If you've made it this far, I'll leave you with this. Your life is a reflection of the choices that you make every single day. You have the opportunity to choose better, to live better, to be better. So what are you waiting for? The end. Oh, that chapter was a lot. That chapter was a fucking lot. I'm kind of glad that there was only 19 people in here the whole time. Although I looked up a couple of times and saw that number down to like 11. Assuming that a lot of you guys are not fucking with the second half of the book or the third half of the book. Or maybe it was because I turned the live from public to unlisted. Maybe the link doesn't work anymore. I don't know. But what'd you guys think of my book? If you've watched it, leave a comment on the YouTube thing. If you listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is that you listen to podcasts on, please go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. If you're looking for a community, if you're looking for, companionship, like you're looking for relationships with other human beings and you need to find a tribe, a community that you fit into, join our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/to-be-better. Join on the $15 tier. It's 50 cents a day. Don't act like you can't afford the shit. Stop drinking Starbucks. You can fucking afford it. Get into Discord. Say hello. I'm new. There's a chat there called the Ball Pit. That's where everybody gets in. Get in there and start talking. I have never seen somebody get ignored when they say I'm new here. Everyone comes through. We have a legitimate fucking community there where people actually care about each other. It goes a long way. Jenna said, I already read it. Hearing it in your own words, though, it hits different. Another honest truth that goes away from the lies and laziness of the other things out there. Nate said, thanks for reading. It's life-changing. Man, I fucking hope so. I really hope so. I hope that this book inspires people to get off their fucking ass and start changing themselves. I want to see the world become more. I honestly feel like we have fallen so far from what we are capable of. And I believe it's all programming. And I'm not going to get into that because it's going to get very preachy, but we need to do better. We need to be better. And with that, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on normal episodes. If you're watching live, have a great weekend.